good to see you again. Thank you for being with us. You made a point in an article last August in Time that continues to stand with me. Regardless of what you think about trans people, if you do not extend protections to them, they are empirically the worst among us. They have the hardest time, the greatest risk of violence against them, and a life expectancy of 35 years. If you can protect them, then you can protect everyone. But if you cannot protect them, then we do not have equality.
Yeah, I think that that's exactly right. I think that the fact that we still have a society in which we have certain people, an entire class of people, who are excluded from basic human rights and basic protections underscores that the work of this country remains fundamentally undone. And the interesting thing about the trolling that you mentioned from Marjorie Taylor Greene, and also sadly from Senator Paul last week of Dr. Rachel Levine, who would be the first trans person to be in a Senate confirmed position in the history of the country, is that they make the case that through their actions and through their words, that we need the Equality Act, that as long as people can use their own discrimination as a basis to deny us equal access to housing, to education, to healthcare, to the full range of things that everyone else has, makes the case that we need the Equality Act.
What does it manifest as? You talked about housing and you talked about employment. How does it manifest? Are people able to say, you can't rent my apartment that I have available because you're trans? Or are they able to not get a loan? Are they able to not get a job? Or is it the way in which it happens and there's no legal recourse for people who don't get that job or who don't get that loan or who don't get that apartment?
It's all the above. Luckily, the Supreme Court ruling last June extends employment protections, but all of the other protections remain in this legal no person's land right now, depending on the state that you live in. And so, yes, the Education Department had a standing rule in the last administration that schools didn't have to protect trans kids. That increases the likelihood of trans people dropping out. That increases the likelihood of trans people not having a job, not having housing, and increasing marginalization. That's just one example. And so in almost every area of life that you can imagine, there is not universal protections and a guarantee of equal treatment for trans people that is equally applied across the United States. It does not exist. And that's why the Equality Act is really important.
When you look at the Civil Rights Act, for instance, you realize that it did not create equality all across society. It created equality in particular places, like public places, like government-funded programs and transportation. That's what the Equality Act is meaning to do. So it's really just a starting point. It's nowhere near going to end up with equality for everyone. It's going to say that you cannot discriminate on the basis of sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity in public places, in transportation, and in government-funded programs.
The Equality Act is not the thing that will guarantee overall equality, but it is an essential step in getting equality. Just like saying that everyone is equal in the law is an important first step. There's a long way to go. The degree of marginalization, of violence, both policy-wise and physical-wise against trans people in particular, but all LGBTQ people across this country, is such that we need all of the above. There is no area of life or area of law where we need to pick and choose. We need everything in order to be included fully, just like everyone else. And the Equality Act is one of those things that's important. There are many others.
Imara, good to see you. Thank you for joining us this morning. Imara Jones is the creator and producer of TransLash Media and Open Society Foundation's fellow. Thank you for being with us.